Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mrs. Gallagher, and today we're going to discuss slope. This is a very important topic in 8th grade. So slope describes the steepness of a line. Slope equals the rise over the run. So slope equals rise over the run, which is equal to the vertical change over the horizontal change. So slope is your vertical change over your horizontal change, and that's what rise over run means. Okay, so our formula for slope is m equals, and m stands for our slope. So whenever we see m, that signifies slope. It means slope. So m equals y2 minus y1 divided by or over x2 minus x1. And once we do some more examples, this formula will make a little more sense. Our key concept is the slope is the same for any 2 points on a straight line. So the slope is the same for any 2 points on a straight line. So now let's discuss different types of slope. The first type of slope is called a positive slope. So your first type of slope is a positive slope. Notice our positive slope is going uphill. So whenever we have a positive slope, it goes uphill. The line is going uphill. So in a positive slope, the line is going uphill. Our next type of slope in our second graph is a negative slope. So our next type of slope is a negative slope. Notice our negative slope, the line goes downhill. So in a negative slope, our line goes downhill. Additionally, what I like to say is in a negative slope, the word negative starts with an N, and you can make an N with a negative slope. So you can make an N with a negative slope. Our third slope is called a zero slope. So our third slope is a zero slope. And if you look at our zero slope, it is a horizontal line. So whenever we have a zero slope, it's a horizontal line. Our last slope we're going to look at is called an undefined slope. And an undefined slope has a line that goes up and down like this. So an undefined slope is always a vertical line. So now that we discussed each type of slope, we're going to now calculate and graph each type of slope. So let's read the directions. It says find the slope of each pair of points. Number 1, our coordinate C is 5, 5, and our coordinate M is 4, 2. Now we can find our slope 2 different ways, by drawing a graph and finding the rise over run, or using our formula M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's first graph these points. C is 5, 5. So to go over to the right 5 and up 5. There's our C. And M is 4, 2. And we're going to draw a line. And remember, our slope is our steepness of our line. It's our rise over run. So how do we find our rise over our run on a graph? Very simple. All you're going to do is you go to the bottom coordinate, and you're going to go up 1, 2, 3. You're going to rise up to get to the other coordinate. So we rose 3 before you get to your next coordinate. So you rose 3. And then we're running 1. So your goal is to go from your bottom coordinate, and you're going to rise, and then you're going to run. So your run is 1. Therefore, you have to simplify. 3 divided by 1 is 3. So your slope, your M, is equal to 3. Notice we're going uphill here, so this is a positive slope. So notice we went uphill, so it's a positive slope. It's a positive slope. Okay, so all we're doing with a graph is you want to find your rise over your run. You're going to go to your bottom coordinate, you're going to rise, and then your run. Now the other formula we discussed is M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you find your slope when you're not giving a graph and you're just giving coordinates. Okay, So what is y2 and y1 and x2 and x1? Okay, if you look here, your first coordinate C is 5, 5. This is your x coordinate and this is your y coordinate. And this is also your first ordered pair. So you're going to label it x1 and y1. Now our second coordinate, or M, is 4, 2. Your x is 4 and your y is 2. It's your second ordered pair, so it's 2 and 2. Okay, so now you are given your x1 equals 5, your y1 equals 5, your x2 equals 4, and your y2 equals 2. So now all you're going to do is you're going to plug it in, you're going to substitute it in this equation. So M equals, our y2 is 2, minus our y1 is 5, over our x2 is 4, minus our x1 is 5. So now 2 minus 5 is negative 3, and 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So a negative 3 divided by a negative 1, you always want to simplify here. You're always going to simplify, gives us M equals a positive 3. Notice here, we have the same answer as our formula and as our graph. Let's do another example together. All right, so let's look at number 2. A is negative 2, 1, and B is 0, negative 3. We're going to use our formula first. So we want to label our coordinates x1 and y1, and then x2 and y2. This is your first order pair. That's your second order pair. So we use our formula, M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now our y2 is equal to negative 3. So to plug that in, negative 3 minus our y1 is 1 over our x2 is 0 minus our x1 is negative 2. So now we're going to subtract going across. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. And then 0 minus a negative 2, create a big plus sign. So 0 plus 2 is 2. Therefore, M is equal to negative 4 divided by positive 2 is negative 2. So now that's our slope. So now let's graph these points and see if we get a negative 2 slope. Notice our answer is a negative 2, so our slope is going to be a negative slope. Our slope is going to be negative. Therefore, our line is going to go downhill. So now let's graph this, or graph the points. We have A is negative 2, 1. There's your A. And your B is 0, negative 3. And you're going to make your line. So now we're going to find our slope with our graph using our rise over the run. So let's go to our bottom coordinate and let's rise. So we're rising 1, 2, 3, 4. We rose 4, and then we're running 1, 2. You have to rise before you run. We're rising up 4, and we're going over 2. So your rise over run is 4 over 2. Now this is a negative slope because we're going downhill. We have to identify what the line's negative. Also, you can make an N. You can make an N with your line. So it's a negative 4 over 2. And we're going to simplify. So negative 4 divided by 2 is a negative 2. So notice our slopes are the same. Either way, we calculated a slope. Let's do another example together. So now we have the coordinates 2, 4, and F is 3, 4. So let's first label our coordinates. We're going to use our calculation first to find the slope. So it's always x1, y1 is your first coordinate, and then x2, y2 is your second. So M equals, your formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We labeled our y2 is 4 minus our y1 is 4 divided by our x2 is 3 and our x1 is 2. All right, so now you have 4 minus 4 is 0. And 3 minus 2 is 1. Therefore, my slope is equal to 0 divided by 1 is 0. Therefore, this graph is going to be a 0 slope. So this graph we're going to graph now is a 0 slope. So now we're going to graph the coordinate to see what this looks like. D is 2, 4. So to the right, 2 and up 4. And then our second coordinate is 3, 4. So over 3, up 4. That's F. So let's draw a line. Notice the horizontal line. A 0 slope is always horizontal. But now if we want to use the formula, M equals rise over run. You're going to go from D to F. Okay, so did we rise anywhere? No, we didn't rise anywhere. So our rise is equal to 0. Did we run anywhere? Yes, we are running 1. We ran 1. So your run is 1. And then 0 divided by 1 is 0. So I'm showing you two ways we can find slope. The first way is to use our coordinates and calculate it. And the second way is to graph it and then count your rise over run. Now let's look at an undefined slope. Okay, so let's look at our last example, which is going to be an undefined slope. And for the undefined slope, we're going to graph our coordinates first. We're going to graph the coordinate G, negative 3, 2. So we're going to go to the left 3 and up 2. And that's G. And then H, negative 3, negative 1. And we're going to draw our line. So we're going to first find the slope by using the rise over the run. So now what are we rising here? We're rising 1, 2, 3. So we rose 3. And now what are we running here? Well, we're actually not running anywhere. We didn't go anywhere. So your run is going to be 0. Now, whenever you have 0 as a denominator, your answer is going to be undefined. So M equals undefined. Because you can't put a number into nothing. So whenever you see a vertical line and your denominator is equal to 0, your answer is undefined. So whenever 0 is your denominator, your answer is always undefined. Okay, so now let's use our other formula, M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, we want to first label our coordinates, x1, y1, x2, y2. Remember, this is your first ordered pair, and that's your second ordered pair. That's why we label it that way. So your y2 is negative 1 minus your y1 is 2 over your x2 is negative 3 minus your x1 is negative 3. So now we have negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus a negative 3, this comes a plus sign. So negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Once again, 0 is your denominator. You can't put a number into nothing. Therefore, your answer is M equals undefined. And that is your answer. Remember, you can't put a number into nothing. So what I'd like you to do is the U trisection. Please do number 1 and use both formulas. I want you to calculate your slope and graph your slope and identify your slope. And also 2, again, calculate your slope, graph your slope, and identify what type of slope it is. And we'll discuss it in class. Thank you.